Hey bro, why I not fluent in English still?
This is the most common question I often get from the people who are keen to improve their proficiency. That is why today I am going to tell you why I think you may not be fluent in English yet and what you can do about it. Right, let's get into it. Hello everyone, thanks once again for joining me on my YouTube channel EMS, where you can find a lot of valuable instructions regarding English speaking skills for free. All you need to do is just hit the subscribe button and then click the bell icon so that all free stuff are instantly at your disposal as soon as I upload them. But make sure you stay with me till the end of the video. Today I'm going to talk with you about fluency. It's one of the 4 pillars of IELTS speaking. Remember, it represents 25% of your mark, so you need to get good fluency. But it can be frustrating sometimes because working on fluency but not seeing the results. So today I'm going to talk about that and some things you can do to improve your fluency. First of all, some people think that the 4 skills, fluency, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation, that they are separate. And if you look at the band descriptors of IELTS, you will also notice it will encourage you to think they are separate, because you will see those different grading for each skill, right? Now that's true. However, they are not separate. As a matter of fact, they are all very closely interconnected or interlinked, so to speak. One thing affects another. So whilst you can work on your fluency, because they are connected to everything else, you need to be working on everything as a whole. But let's break down the fluency a little bit, right? So what influences fluency? Let's think about it. First of all, as you are speaking, finding the right word is going to affect your fluency, right? In other words, if your vocabulary is not big enough, or you are trying to use difficult words you don't fully know, or you are confusing different word families, like economy, economic, economist, then that affects your fluency. So you see, vocabulary is directly affecting your fluency. Then how do you solve that? Let's see the solution. The first thing is to start activating your vocabulary, right? It's all well and good reading vocabulary and getting it into your head. But if you are not speaking it out and activating it, then it's not going to come fluently. We have 2 kinds of vocabulary, passive and active. Passive words are the ones you can read and recognize, and even you can understand when you hear them, but you may not be able to use them. On the other hand, active vocabularies are the words that have gone from passive to active, and you can actually use them correctly. So getting as much vocabulary as you can into your active pool, if you like, is really important, so that you could start using them, and that builds up your fluency, right? So here is a key tip for you. Although you've got lots of passive vocabulary, but if you don't feel comfortable or you are not sure how to use it, don't use it in the test, because if you get it wrong, your vocabulary score comes down. Also, your fluency will come down because you can't use it properly or fluently. So focus on your active vocabulary. that you are really comfortable with to get a good score in vocabulary but a better score in fluency. That is tip number 1. So now your next question would be, how do I activate my vocabulary? Well, soon I'm going to upload a new video on that particular topic, but for now, one of the basic things you do is repetition, right? You repeat words and phrases in context. Try to practice using them in different contexts. There is a research that shows you need to see a word in at least 4 different contexts and to be using it in at least 3 or 4 different contexts before it becomes active, which means you really know how to use it, right? So practice repeating the words in different conversations, different answers, different contexts, right? Make sure you're not memorizing your answers and so only using words in one context. That is not good, right? Be flexible. Use it in different contexts. Let's move on and talk about other factors that influence fluency. Similar to vocabulary, grammar, right? When you are speaking and you are thinking about the correct grammar, like is it I go, I went, I have, has been, had been. So you see, as you are thinking about grammar, that affects your fluency as we just saw. So how do you solve that? How do you automate your grammar? Of course, which is what you want, because if you can automate your grammar, then you are going to be just speaking more fluently. Think about the basketball players. Think about Magic Johnson. Think about, well, I'm not a very big fan of basketball, so I don't know a lot of big names from the game. Anyway, world famous basketball players. What do? They bounce the ball and then shoot. They bounce the ball and then they shoot. Bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot, bounce, shoot. Easy peasy. And they spend hours shooting, practicing, repeating and repeating until they automate the move. Because on the court, when they are playing, they don't have the time to think. They need to be automatically shooting and passing. So all of that has to be automated. Well, guess what? It's the same with speaking English. If you can automate the grammar, you can just use it much more fluently and focus on ideas and fluency when you're speaking. So, your next probable question: how do I automate my grammar? Well, similar to the basketball player, intense repetition, just like the physical exercise you do at the gym, like here you are doing exercise of your grammar by intensely repeating various grammatical structures. Repeat the process again and again and again. The more you repeat, the more you automate them, the more confident you become to use those structures in your speaking. When you can use grammatical structures automatically, then you can focus on ideas and fluency and maybe pronunciation. And another thing connected to both vocabulary and grammar is that a lot of students focus on vocabulary, on individual words. So what they are doing is actually they are putting the words together more slowly and with more hesitation. Tip number 2. You need to change that focus from words to phrases. I often call them chunks. There is another term, phrasing, which we often discuss, is the idea of thinking about phrases of language, like 3 or 4 words together, rather than individual words, right? A simple example. Here is a chunk of language. To be honest, I think da 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 da. Now, if I'm thinking of words to be plus the adjective honest, so I'm actually thinking of 3 words. So I've got to think a lot. But if I think of a chunk or phrase to be honest, which is actually just one sound, if I can automate that, then that's going to help my fluency because I don't need to think. To be honest, I think it's great. Focusing on chunks and phrases is much more important than individual words. Let's take another simple example. Take the question, do you often go on picnics? Well, to be honest, not so many, much, but I do enjoy I do enjoy going out for a picnic sometimes. Now I'm focusing on words, but if I focus on the phrase, I'll get something different. Well, to be honest, not so much, but I do enjoy going out for a picnic now and again. So, can you hear the difference? I am chunking and using phrases like, well, to be honest, not so much. I do enjoy going out for a picnic now and again. So you see, it just changes totally and really it can help your fluency. Now, how do you do this? Well, take the structure I enjoy going out, for example, right? Just practice substitution. Like, I enjoy going out. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy painting. So change the last word and practice all. The mistake most people do is that they think of the word and they do this. I enjoy going out. I enjoy painting. I enjoy cooking. Right, but that's not helping because they are thinking and they are causing the hesitation. So think first, speak second when you are practicing. This is intense practice of that basketball player. So, you see, phrasing is really important, and what's more, it will help you with your intonation. If you are phrasing correctly, you are more likely to get the good or correct intonation. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment. And you will notice, by the way, well, hopefully you have noticed already that the lot of the chunks we use are actually fillers and connectors which are critical for fluency, like to be honest, first of all, without a doubt. Things like this, they are chunks, and if you have got those chunks using them as spoken fillers and connecting your language, it helps a lot with coherence, which is a key for fluency. Okay, so what else affects fluency? I mean, we have talked about vocabulary and active vocabulary. We have talked about grammar, right? And automating grammar to make it automatic. But also think about pronunciation. If you can't pronounce sounds and words correctly, or it is difficult for you, that will affect your fluency. Likewise, word stress, sentence stress, intonation, these all are critical for getting good fluency. One of the key things between kind of a band 6 and a band 7 and 8 is the long turn. Being able to speak for a long turn, a long sentence, maintaining or sustaining correct intonation and also several sentences, so you've got coherent development of ideas, right? That long-term and sustaining intonation. Pronunciation plays a key role, and particularly intonation. It really is important. So I think one of the key things that differentiates your 7 and your 8 is the intonation. It is getting the natural English intonation. And if you can get that up on your pronunciation to a band of 8, it's gonna help immensely with your fluency. Now, how do you work on your intonation? It's not easy at all, but I've got a quick tip for you. Intonation is to use the rising and falling intonation on some words, right? The rising falling intonation is something like that. We use it like but and like this. And what it means to the listener is I'm gonna carry on speaking, right? So don't you dare interrupt me, dear examiner. For example, yes, I agree, but, and that but means I'm going to carry on speaking. I couldn't agree more, and I think that the and shows that you are going to carry on speaking. So it's good sometimes to indicate to the examiner, don't interrupt me, I've got more to say. Because sometimes these examiners are notorious for interrupting candidates. But don't worry about that. Interruption is not a problem. But getting familiar with these different kinds of intonation, that is gonna up your game significantly. I'll come back to that in a moment. Another thing that influences your fluency, of course, is nerves, right? If you are nervous, God, that can ruin your fluency. I'm planning to do a video about handling nerves in the test pretty soon. The other thing is getting ideas, right? That influences your fluency as well. So it's not just getting the word, but getting the idea, processing the idea inside your head, and then getting it out through your mouth is also complicated. So it's all well and good, right? Now we know the things that influence fluency, right? We have talked about vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, nerves, getting ideas, all of those. So how can we improve even more on all of those? Practice it is, my friend. There is no alternative. Whatever I have discussed in today's video, make sure you work on each point and keep practicing more and more. And that is all for today. This is your friend Chonchol signing out. We will meet again very soon with some new contents. Till then, stay well. God bless you. Allah Hafiz.